What a day today. We made it. We made it. We're here, broski. Man, today was dope as fuck, dude. I cannot get over how dope Twitch is. Everybody told me to get on here for so long, for freaking a whole year now. People have been telling me to get on here, and I finally did. And I'm like, what the fuck did I wait for so long? I probably should introduce myself. I'm 100 million. I'm a record producer. I own 237 Music Group. And yeah, I've just been in the business for years, and I've been lurking. I've been lurking in the shadows, working with everybody. But, you know, I'm finally putting myself out there online. You know, I was a mix engineer. I was a recording engineer. I've owned studios. I've been a record producer, a songwriter. I just been filling all the little areas where I can keep it moving and stay creative. You know what I mean? So, and one of the things that I've been blessed with is to be with hundreds of recording artists in my career. And you know, there's something about making beats. Everybody makes beats nowadays, and it's dope as fuck. Some beats are dope as. Why do artists pick beats? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the biggest producer in the world at all, but I've been in the actual industry here in Los Angeles for years, and I have a good amount of record placements. And why? You know what I mean? Like, because I hear beats all the time, and I never even knew I was dope until artists started picking my beats. You know what I mean? And I still like battle with that in my head. Making music and you're by yourself all the time, then you may not. It may be a longer journey to get to that understanding. You know what I mean? We're just going to dive into why some beats get picked and some don't. We undervalue ourselves so much as producers and creators, especially when you're in the industry. Like, we see it every day. Since I was a kid, I've been focused on music, you know what I mean? And I was fortunate enough to find my way into the business. And then, you know, now I'm just I undervalue myself at times because it's the normal. I wake up every day and full time I get to make music. I get to write music. I get to produce. I get to have concepts and ideas for artists. That's my job. So like, there's days when I definitely have to snap my brain and be like, holy shit, I'm living my dream right now. And I think that the education that you pick up along the way to get to that point in your career, because you could make beats for 20 years and never get to the point where you fully understand why an artist may choose a beat or a song. You know what I mean? So yeah, let's get it going. So here we go. The first thing we always do, you guys, what we've been doing is we just jump straight into the fucking drum set, man. Because that's what motherfuckers want to know, what's going on with the drums. So what is the tempo? 155. What's the key? E minor. You guys got to understand that tempo and key in the relationship that they have with each other is very important. Yeah. Yeah, what do we got? What's the first drum that comes in, this little bad boy, this little puppy? We'll look at those in a second. Let's see what's going on here. Dude, nothing too crazy, nothing too special. To be honest with you, I probably liked how these hats sounded, and they were in a drum loop, and I just straight up EQ'd the shit out of it and took all the other frequency out except for just, yep. So when I heard how these hats sounded in this loop, I was like, fuck. So instead of going and grabbing more hats and trying to recreate something I already heard that exactly worked, I just fucking grabbed it, threw it in, used it, trimmed it all the way up because I only need the high frequency in this sound. Excuse me. Then what are we doing? We're just trimming it. We're cutting about. I always cut. I don't like things going over 20K in modern music. We're not doing dance music. We're doing music that's gonna be 100%. You're thinking about an artist, so you're making space and everything. You're kind of like, you're not going through and over treating every single sound. But you know what? Check it out. When you can mix your beats more than just doing a bunch of raw sounds and expecting a mix engineer to do it for you, you're going to get a lot more placements because that beat sonically is going to smack, man. I hear so many dope ass beats and a terrible mix on it, and it doesn't get the opportunity of even getting played for more than 5 to 10 seconds. I liked how it sounded. It worked already. The people who are making these sounds and one shots and samples and loops nowadays, they got some good sonics, so you don't have to go recreate the damn wheel just to say you did something to something. Let's keep it moving. I don't want to bore you. Yeah, just making room. Lovely little hat, right? Come on. What's the next little sounds we got? We just got some little drum racks. Let's check these little bad boys out. Yep, come on. Dude, when you see dudes making sound packs, they know how to make the fucking sound. So you don't got to do a lot to it if it sounds good right off the jump. Just dial it in, level it out. And then what did I do to this? I put a soft clipper on it, in a saturator, and I just fucking pushed it a little baby bit, and then it's getting touched on the drum bus later on, what we'll check out. And that's all I did to that channel. Come on, keep it simple. Keep it simple as fuck. If you're doing too much, you're doing too much. This gives it its bounce. This is that syncopated snare that's coming in. What do we got? We got this little bad boy right here, just on the threes. Ka-tink, 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 ka-tink. And then this one's doing the actual motherfucking, it's doing the movement. It's keeping the bounce going. And you look, we've accomplished the bounce in the whole song with these many elements. Because you don't need to add 50 fucking drum channels in your shit to make those drums pop. You know what I mean? Let's check it out. And you hear how those make a cool variation. What's this little guy? What's this little fella right here? Oh my goodness. That's the actual like. Okay guys. That's the actual like weight in that snare. That's what the artist is gonna follow. The other shit is to keep your body moving. 1, 2, 3 sounds, 4 sounds, 5 sounds in the drums. That's it. That's all we got rocking so far right here. Because you want to make room. You want to keep that room. And what is this little purple guy? This is probably just a straightforward hat. Dude, see what's on here though? Just a nice little gate. And what? Same shit. Look at that. Let me bypass this for you real fast. Oh my God. Okay. Now, I don't know what kind of speakers you guys used to playing your music on, or if you guys have ever been in a big studio, you've ever played your stuff on a PA, but those frequencies up there in a sound like that, are going to destroy your ears, man, on a big, because think about it, as this record gets compressed down, as it gets the bus treated, and it's going to go through and touch the master, then you're going to put it in Pro Tools, and then they're going to work on it in there and load in the 2-track, and then it's going to get mixed down, and then it's going to get mastered, and then like, dude, those frequencies are going to be out of control by the time it gets to the consumer's ears, you know what I mean? So really look at this, 5K to 1K, that's the only place that sound has any like reality. There's frequencies in that hi-hat when I laid all those frequencies in that like by the end of the song, like a minute into hearing that, it will hurt. You know what I mean? 30 seconds of that hitting my ear, it's going to start really hurting. So I know over time, a lot of people, it may become harsh in the club. It may not read right in the car. You know what I mean? So I'm just creating space because we're making modern fucking music for artists to get on. So nobody knows about those frequencies that you took out. You as a listener or a consumer, you never knew about this. You never knew about those frequencies. When you hear that, so you never had an opportunity to miss them. You know what I mean? Only I did because I put the song together. Only I did because I mixed the record. You know what I mean? Only you will because you're the one picking the sounds and selecting the sound. So when you manipulate a sound into being something what it is, as long as it still has, it's doing its job, no one's going to miss those frequencies that you take away because the vocals are going to take up those frequencies in the mixdown when you start, if the record gets picked by an artist. And all these little tiny steps, I'm telling you guys, believe it or not, they all add up to the result of getting a record placement, of someone hearing that song and not skipping your beat. It will fit a certain formula that an artist they'll be able to, oh shit, I could tell a story to this. I can resonate with this. I can get with this. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to cut to this. And then if they start cutting to it, that record that may have been like an all right beat turns into an incredible fucking song, dude. It's all about making that space and keeping that relationship between you and the artist. It isn't about just you as a producer. Making space in your music is definitely a first step if you're trying to figure out how to get your music to sound better. Find out places where you can scrap all that excess frequencies and make space for the artist to live. I'm sure right now if you go through any of your songs, you can find a whole bunch of frequencies that don't need to be there. And then if you take them out and then you listen, you'll be like, damn, this is a whole different record. You know what I mean? What is that? A little glitchy roll. That's just kind of giving an off-time syncopation in the background. Hear it in there? Just panned hard to the left. So check that panning out. Because I got this other hat right down the middle. I got this other hat right down the middle. You know what I mean? Like, come on, make some space. Put things in. You got your ears are not on your forehead for a reason. They're on the side of your head. So you're allowed to pan sounds, you guys. So you guys check it out. The kick doesn't run through the whole song on purpose. You know what I mean? Because you're creating space and leaving arrangement. That's kind of adding to the arrangement and the progression. So in the verses, the kick probably drops out. And then when the verse B's, then they probably pick up, and then they're probably definitely there in the hook to keep the record kind of like moving and keeping you grooving and dancing. And too, if the kick came in from the very beginning of the song, it gives no room. Sometimes that 808, it don't need a kick with it. That's the whole point that it feels like that, is it doesn't have a kick in through that with that yet. Of course, you want your beat to sonically be appealing and all that and to fit a format, so that's what we're talking about. But it ain't about you being the most incredible producer in the world to make a living as a producer and appeal to artists. Like, that's a big misconception, and you guys are missing the mark if you're constantly worried about like the technicalities of everything. Of course, you want to learn all that stuff, but make sure you're feeling your music and you're emotionally understanding that you're making music for a song in the first place. You're not making music just to make a beat. This sounds crazy, but practice grabbing one sample, grabbing one kick, one snare, and one hi-hat, and practice arranging that until it's interesting. Practice literally trying to make something sound good and feel appealing with the fewest amount of sounds for like a month. Like, if you can't dedicate a month to an exercise to get better at your music, then how are you trying to do it for a living? Literally, do a song every day. That's 30 songs, and grab 6 elements. So make 30 records with only 6 elements in them. And I promise, like, at the end of those 30 records, some of them will be acceptable records for artists. And then when you put the vocals on it and you let the artist do their thing, that's what I'm trying to teach you, man. That's what it's about. You know what I mean? Dude, it's not about packing your shit full to make it dope. Sometimes it's about what's not there. Quincy Jones said sometimes the space in between the notes is more important than the notes played. You know what I mean? That's a note itself. Don't forget to play that note, the space note. So let's keep it moving. I'm not trying to harp. We're almost done with the drums, you guys. Yep. And look, in the hooks, that's what you're introducing in the hooks. We're taking this straight hat out. We're introducing this little new one, little live guy. And we're bringing the kick. You see how the kick comes in the pre-hook? The kick is not in the full verse. It's only in the pre-hook, and it's only in the hooks. Only in the pre-hook, only in the hooks. Only in the hook, not in the bridge. Boom. Second verse, no kick. Boom, second verse. You know what I'm saying? It's just so, the arrangement is like that. It's like that. If you're making trap, you're making R&B, you're making pop music. You know, pop music will be a little more complex, you guys, for sure. But it's the same shit. It's about keeping it simple. There's going to be dope records inside of everything, you know what I mean? But your hi-hats can be simple, you guys. But one thing about hi-hats, let's talk about that for a second. How do you make a simple hi-hat interesting? The velocity. Control the velocity. Maybe every 4 bars, 8 bars, make it kind of on a slightly downward slope, and maybe it comes back up in the middle and goes back down, and then boom, then comes back and repeats. So it's like, so it's kind of human being related, you know what I mean? So that's definitely a trick to make a basic hi-hat have more complexity to it or just seem more interesting, you know what I mean? This song's out, by the way, you guys. This is Beckam. It's on Zoovie. So it's on Apple Music. It's on Spotify. Beckam is incredible, man. Definitely check him out, man. He's dope as fuck. So that's pretty much the drums. So let's go check out the drum bus. Yep. All right. You're going to get tired of seeing this, and you're going to start doing it because it's dope as fuck. On my drum bus, the first thing I always do, why do I do this? Because I love a Neve console. I'm addicted to, if I ever get the opportunity to work on Neves, I fucking go crazy on them. I love touching a Neve console. I just love how they sound. There's a certain drum sound that's associated with the SSL and a Neve that is just like, you either like one or the other, but I love an SSL and I love a Neve sound. I just happen to love overdriving things and just baby bit of coloration of the Neve a little bit more. I don't know. This thing is amazing. NLS bus. That's all it is a saturator that literally mimics the circuitry inside of an analog console, Neve. And then what are we doing? Just a little baby bit of drive on there. That's all you need. You don't really need to go above 3 or anything. I'm at 1.2. Come on, that just lets you know. I'll show you why in a little bit. And now, I never used to use this. Big up to the Ableton glue compressor for using it when 10 came out, and I don't use it on everything, but I use it often now. You know what I mean? This little glue compressor actually is pretty dope. And you're doing mild compression on your drum bus. You're not compressing, so don't get afraid when I say that. There's reasons. You know, you may think that things are way more complex than they are, but it's actually really simple. You know what I mean? Like to get something to be right, it is. So it's just training your ear to recognize that. I promise all of you, everybody who makes music, This is a phrase. Even a broken clock reads right once or twice a day. You know what I mean? So you just got to know when you're hitting right. If you don't know, you don't know. I could talk about music in the technicalities and the mixing and in all these things in the settings and the ratio and the aspect and fucking sidechain and motherfucking mid-side and blah, 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 ghost harmonics and psychoacoustic and blah. Like, dude, fucking goddamn it. You learn all that shit to forget it and just realize that this is an emotional context thing. It's music. You're feeling it. If you're not feeling it, then who gives a shit that you went to Berkeley and you done all this fucking shit and you know, I'm with the dude. It's okay. Well, great. Your music has to feel. That's why a lot of these producers get frustrated, because there'll be some industry producers getting mad because there's some kids that are like 19 years old, been doing this shit for 8 months, and they just can recognize a feeling fast. They just got quick at recognizing an emotional context and a feeling, and that they stop when they make that feeling and they don't go any further. You know what I mean? A lot of people hate on these kids on FL and all this shit, and they're banging out beats and shit. I'm like, hell fucking yeah, bro. That inspires the shit out of me, dude. When I see a dude who's 19 and he's grinding, he got 20 record placements in a couple years, and he's fucking in high school still, I'm like, dude, that inspires me. I want to know what these kids are doing, dude. I want to check. I want to know what's up, you know? So where we at? We're at the drum bus. Let me see. Group that up. There we go. And then let's bypass it real quick. There you go. And then that's no drum bus. And then drum bus. Hi-ya! All right, cool. And then here's one of my little secret sauces always. 1 dB down on the ceiling and 4 dB down on the threshold, just to give that some weight. And you'll notice it's not even chopping them drums down. I'm just pulling the gain up. I'm pulling the energy up. I'm pulling the emotion up. There's a million ways to use a limiter. When we get into the mix tutorials on Pro Tools and stuff like that, we'll get more in depth about the different techniques of a limiter and how to use them. But this is the most basic one. I'm just pulling the gain up with it. And that's the drum bus, man. Let's go check out the sounds. All right, let's see what the first sound is. And you'll notice the sounds in this song are so simple. There's almost like no sounds. It's funny. It's just real sparse because Beckham's doing his job. He's just fucking riding this beat like a motherfucker. Pause. But he's going crazy, bro. That motherfucker's killing this beat. He's on that beat like, whoo, shit, dude. Certain flavors. Oh, that's just like a nice little reversed sound. It probably was like a cool little sample. Obviously, I reversed it, brought it in, filtered it to come back up. Let's see what we're doing. The first thing I always treat stuff with, here is a great example. I've been waiting to show you guys this. Like, this is a good example. So I threw it through CLA Unplugged. I'm not a big CLA guy except for this type of application. I don't ever use it on vocals. I would never use it on vocals in a million years. If I ever did, I would hope someone would chop my ears off. Yeah, it's a consumer-based plugin, so, you know, let's get it on the vocals. Dude, CLA Unplugged, on the other hand, on atmospheric sounds and on your pads and on your leads and all that shit, this is how you're going to win. This is how you're going to make space and make your records knock, dude, and be able to fit shit in there and not take up all the room that the artist needs to really be clear and have his vocals jump out on the record. You know what I mean? So the first thing we did is we went to large. Normally I'm up there on Canyon, but then we went to large hall. We pulled the bass down, and then that's it. Next thing we did was EQ the low out, I bet. Yep. EQ the low, a little duck, just to clean it up. Anytime you introduce a time-space plugin, which time-space atmosphere would be a reverb, it would be a delay. I guess you could kind of call a chorus time-space, a little bit of phaser, da-da-da. We're not going to go all down that fucking road, but anytime you introduce texture plugins like reverbs, delays, choruses, even if you EQ'd it before that reverb plugin, throw another reverb on after that reverb and clean up that motherfucking low end again, because chances are that introduction to that space, you're creating like fragments that are displacing off of the sound and finding their way to get in the way of other shit. And it may not seem like a big deal to you to have just a few little fragments down here, but as you collect the song and it starts becoming more of a song and put together and going through buses and all that, you're going to notice that if you would have took those frequencies out, you would have a lot clearer mix in your beat for sure. So that's why I have an EQ just doing that right after that, even though you saw me pull the low out here. And then what are we doing? My favorite plugin in the world, Why? Because I'm always thinking about the motherfucking artist and the vocal and the space that they need to make a song, bro. Big up Sangria too. I'm always thinking about them making that song. You need space, man. Please, Lord, remember that you're making a song for an artist and don't take up all the frequency range. Thank you. Okay, so down 6 on the mono because that's where the main vocal is gonna sit. I don't care about all your backgrounds, your ad-libs, all that shit, all the craziest fucking textures and Travis Scott shit, you know what I mean? You want that main vocal to have space. So the center of the record, the mono frequency, the kick, the 808, the vocal, the motherfucking snare a little bit, you know what I mean? Like certain elements are going to be down the pipe. That's why I pull out the center on a lot of my sounds with center. Pull out that low end down there. And then this is center, -6, negative. So, you know, you don't have to go all the way down, but you can get there. You do it to your taste. Do it to when you know that it's a record. Birds again. Why do we put birds? Why are birds in a boat in this motherfucking song? Because I've known Beckam for 2.5 years, and he lives a luxury, lazy lifestyle, and that's his vibe. He really lives that shit, like yachts and all that shit. So I knew he would, like, instantly get it. When I was in the booth making this record and they were going crazy, I brought this right out and I threw it on the fucking studio and he was like, oh shit. He like, load it up. We were in there. Boom, that fast. I told you the beat was made and the song was recorded and exported all in under 1 hour. It was fucking crazy. It was just one of those nights. We did 9 records in one night. We had 3 different producers here. We were going crazy, man. We did a whole album in one night, man. And then I mixed it the day after, you know what I mean? And it took like 2 days and boom, three days, whole album done, out. So why we put a boat there? Because we're creating a atmosphere for him. We're painting him a picture in the thing. That's all you need to do is create an emotion for the record in your production for the artist to latch a hold to, man. You're not focused on just being a producer to make a beat, man. If that's what you're doing, then you're missing the mark on making a living or doing whatever you're trying to do in the industry. You want to appeal to the story in each artist, and regardless of their background, that's not up to you to do. You're supposed to just place them in an environment and they're supposed to tell the story. So that's why you can use a fucking seagull in a yacht in an intro, and an artist who lives that kind of shit, and he's on yachts. And I knew he took a trip a while back and he was on a yacht. So when he heard that, he probably went back to those pictures in his brain and he was like, oh shit, done, load it up. I want this beat, done. You know what I mean? Like, it's that simple. Is you're creating emotion. You're playing with emotion. There isn't 50 leads in this song and all this different stuff going on. So he has room to hear himself. Every single time we talk on this channel, we're going to talk about creating space for the artist to hear themselves, man. That's the main goal if you're making music for recording artists. You know what I mean? Let's keep it moving. There's boats, there's birds. What do we got right here? Cool. This is our first like real element. Oh, I just fucked this thing up too. This was a arcade loop cut up. Something's going on with it for sure. And then why? Look at that shit. Look what I did to that shit. There's so much space taken out of that right off the bat. So he could hear himself. And then again, why? Because I'm fucking weird, dude. And then what? And then center again. So it's this whole sound right here is you're accepting it in stereo. You're not really getting no mono signal from this sound. So when it comes through and you hear it in the record and the artist is rapping through it, it's wrapping around his vocals. It's like hugging him. It's not conflicting, and it's not competing for that middle space on the lead of the vocal. You know what I mean? Yeah, come on. It's subtle too, because it's like, shit, you want room, bro. Leave that room, leave that space. Let that space rock. And then here's our bounce. There's our hook. That probably came in on the pre. Let's take a look real quick, you guys. Come on. Look, this is the pre. It only comes in, this little guitar loops, it only comes in at the end of the pre and at the end of the hook to create a variation and to keep the record moving and tie certain sections together. So it's not just like a block arrangement. That's something too that you guys need to focus on in your records, is creating different atmospheres that are all connected to the same world. but it isn't like a door slamming shut in your face when you walk into the next room or the next chamber of the record. You know what I mean? You have to learn how to tie those sections together so like the artist can keep their bounce. If you disturb the bounce or the flow, then it like stops the record. Imagine performing the record and you're an artist, and then all of a sudden it's like, and you're like, you have to completely switch your flow. You have to get ready for that. You know what I mean? So you want to have the cohesiveness in all the sections of your record, but make sure that they're tied together and they have variation. You know what I mean? Woo! Simple. Nothing else in that bitch. Just bounce it. What are we doing to this thing too? Oh, cool. We can actually show what we did to this thing because it's already still open. Little motherfucking drip plug in. What's it on here? Little lo-fi. Is there, yeah. So simple, man. Again, look at that. We're doing the same. Look, you get the theme by now, right? In the sounds and in what we're doing to all the space in the record. We're literally trimming space. Most of the vocal in modern music is going to live from like 900 to 3K. Like that's where, depending on the tonality, the range of the male, female, whatever, that's where your main is going to live. So if you got all this sound and these guitars and these leads and this fucking flute and all this shit sitting at like 1K, 1.5, 900, 2K, like you're going to notice you're going to have a battle. You're going to have a lot harder time getting your vocal to feel expensive and crystal clear through that mix. You know what I mean? So if you have the excuse me, if you have the opportunity to make sure you're focusing on those things from the jump, you're going to have a lot better time at the end when you hear your record. You know what I mean? You're going to be like, damn, shit. Because it's not about what each individual sounds like by itself. You won't ever really see me mixing in solo a lot, and you won't see me kind of like worrying about how one sound sounds. Because of course you want don't get me wrong, dude, you want your shit to fucking feel right. You want it to bang. You want it to feel expensive. You want it to sound good. But to me, it's about how the whole painting looks like together when you step back and you look at it. I absorb it as one. I don't really kind of like, oh, well, the record sounds great, but that kick sounds incredible. You know what I mean? Like I try to paint that picture so everything has equal value when you absorb it, and you're not kind of like nothing's poking out at you as better or worse. You know what I mean? And then what are we doing to it? EQing it? Yep, creating the space like we said. Let's even do this for you so you can see. I have a tendency to just kind of know where it is by now in my life. You know what I mean? So yeah. So just so you can get a better visual representation of those frequencies and what we're taking out of that sound. Like this is all where the vocal would really be like, when you hear him, let me play you the song real quick. When you actually hear him, I want you to listen to the sounds in the sound like we've been going through. And I want you to listen to like, maybe when you listen to the beat, you're like, man, you could add some of that back. Maybe you can do this. You could turn that up. But then when you hear the actual final record, it makes sense because it like was produced to be a song. You know what I mean? Not just a beat.
Too futuristic, I can't even back to Vegas. I'm smoking baccarat, I'm at the baccarat table. Maybe SUV, you know that thing came with cable. And I park it on the grass, it came with picnic tables. In my car too futuristic, I can't even valet. Plus they make them overseas, so it's hard to sound.
Now, one thing you guys, like I showed you yesterday, is the production's never over when you're out of the production session. A lot of those flips and those chops and those variations that you hear in the beat, I did all that shit in Pro Tools, and I cannot wait to show you how I sauce beats. For about 3 or 4 years, man, I was with everybody, you know what I mean? And I would do 2 8-hour sessions a day and then go back to my studio and try to mix shit and get that shit done. And that's already fucking 16, 20 hours of your day for 6 days, 7 days a week, every single day for years here in LA, man. So, and I'm telling you guys, every single artist had a different request and a different technique they wanted you to do. And hey, bro, can you try this and do that? And I never said no. And I'm that guy. In every single session I've ever done in my life, I have never said no to an artist. I will let them explore their journey, even if I already know it's going to be a dead end. And I will suggest to them, hey, we can try to go this way with it or this, but they're an artist. At the end of the day, they want to explore. And if they want to see that dead end, and you let them see that dead end, because it increases value in their education. So then now they know not to go that way anymore. You know what I mean? Like, Because when you work professionally, you're with a different person every single fucking day, man. Like that artist may bring fucking 5 producers and 5 other engineers, and you're collaborating on this thing and learning how they work and doing that, so it increases so much value. You know what I mean? Dude, that's it, bro. That's the whole record with sound wise. You know what I mean? But there was definitely some flips and variations that were done in Pro Tools, but that's the beat. So let me get down to the bass real quick. This is what you guys want to know about. I'm sure everybody always wants to know about the 808s and the bass lines and the low end. How you do your low end, what you do, what's that pattern, what's going on, and it's honestly simple. It is simple. It's spacious. What's this 808 doing? Boom. Just a nice little hit off the off. Look, it's not on time. It's on the off time. A lot of you guys, man, everything don't got to be on the 1 and 3. You know what I mean? Like, look out. I'm going to tell you something that I love to do in a second. Woo! That's that record. All right, what are we doing to that bass, man? Yes, sir. So what's going on with this 808? What do we got going on? So sometimes I'll play a loop, right? I'll play an actual bass line myself, or I'll play whatever. I'll slap a couple notes in. I'll do whatever I'm doing, and then I'll get something that I really like, and then I'll go and I'll grab a loop, and I'll slap the loop in at the beginning of the phrase, right? And then I'll cut the whole loop out and just use the last of the phrase. So it creates a tiny little turnaround. Maybe it's like a little pitch roll or whatever, but you know what I mean? It just adds a cool variation and a little bounce to my actual 808 that I already played. For me, when I make music and I produce anything, I always come from a space of, does this work for an artist? Is there space for the vocal on here? Can they tell a story? You know what I mean? Not that I know where that artist is at that particular time in their journey as an artist, but I try to think ahead of wherever they were last time that I worked with them, or the last thing that I listened to that they just put out. You know what I mean? I always try to be delivering something different or experimenting. So I find myself always in left field and always in there, but the only difference is once I find something way out there in left field, I'll bring it back and I'll put it in the application that works. I won't bring everything out there to left field and try to assemble a whole song around some crazy off the wall idea. I'll maybe grab an element of that crazy weird off the wall idea and bring it into a format or an arrangement or a key that I know is acceptable for a modern artist. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of reasons why people pick beats. There's a lot of reasons why they don't pick beats. Let's be real. You can't foresee everything. If we had a crystal ball that said, if you make this kind of beat today, this is going to go. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, it doesn't work like that. We all wish it did, but you know what I'm saying? You got to train yourself to do what you love to do and still stay true to yourself as a producer and an artist and a creator, but then cater to your market and understand what your market is going to respond to also. You know what I mean? So space and time is one thing that people respond to very well, is leaving space in your music. I know it's so subjective when I say that, because you could hear someone do a simple ass beat and it has like no movement and nothing's happening to it, and it's just like nothing's going on. You guys, quit chasing one placement. Quit trying to look up. Quit staring up in the hierarchy of the business or your city and expecting people to reach down and grab you. Like, network across, don't network up. That's a big thing, because then you could establish your relationship and be with that artist. Maybe you've been building your skill set now and you're so fucking dope, dude, and you have all these artists around you that are dope as shit too, but you're literally like disservicing yourself and them, because you're chasing these unobtainable things that aren't in your peer circle yet. When you have these artists that are probably world-class artists right in your peer circle, you're just ignoring them. Just go hard, man. Spend a couple years with with 1, 2, 3 artists, 4 artists, and it will change your entire life and it will change your entire career. I promise, dude. But damn, man, that's this beat. That will conclude Beckam Certain Flavors beat. You look how I named it Boatyard. That's funny, huh?
Certain flavors, I keep certain flavors. Certain people owe me certain.
With a boo, with a boo, with a boo, boo. Yeah, that was almost a little song right there.